important to realize that names are indications of whole areas of scripture. For instance, the letters of Peter, the book Peter in the New Testament. Peter, remember, is the church, and if you've got a literal church, we're talking about guidance as to how to build the world church, Christianity. You know that in some sense the letter of Peter is formulated by the church for the church. It's nothing to do with the Jesus story. Paul, likewise, the similarity to the figure of Paulus, who travelled the Mediterranean countries and, was the prototype for Paul. In other words, we're talking about a pre-Jesus story. Earlier than the story of Jesus, and therefore doesn't have the, if you like, the enlightenment or the content necessarily of the Gospels, though it may feed into it as regards spiritual truth, rather than storified, historical, pseudo-historic, historistic content. To give a name to a book like John, or that John supposedly wrote, wrote Revelation, is to pick up, is it kudos, inferred importance, validity, a way of making you take the content of this story, Revelation, or the letters of John seriously. Oh, perhaps we mean the same as John's Gospel, which perhaps we trust. We would call this deceit in a modern era. In the same way as we would see big business and finance influence on political decisions as a corruption of some particular democratic view of what should be the case in politics. Whereas in some societies it's quite reasonable. Similarly, we might see bribery as a corruption, but is such a part and parcel of some nations. All we can say is they've got a pretty inferior economic decision-making mechanism from the point of view of say some free market principles of Western countries. But it's not corrupt in some countries, it's just normal. And in some sense you do get an allocation of resources, but not with the same claimed efficiency of not having bribery. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Oh, well, I didn't sort of round on the point, did I? That the fact that John apparently wrote the letters and the book of Revelation, well, it was just normal practice in those days to grab a name that people would accept as the author, and rather than put your own name down. Of course, if you're a religious funder, you take it that every word of Scripture is by the command of God anyway, so it's not a problem. Yeah, well, good luck to that. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.